Chào tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn trở lại với series The Grand Hour của Luxo Media Việt Nam. Hôm nay tôi rất vui vì có mặt tại nhà hàng Michelin Phú Quốc. Đây là một nhà hàng dining rất là stylish, vừa mới được relaunch lại bởi JW Marriott Phú Quốc. Nếu các bạn có thời gian, các bạn hãy tới đây và trải nghiệm. Alright, now we're gonna start our Grand Hour series podcast with Mr. Olivier E. Pleased to meet you, sir.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good. Fresh, ready to go.
All right. So, before we start, Olivier is a 29 Michelin star awarded chef.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, this is very special and my honor to interview you today.
Thank you. Very happy to be here. Looking forward to have this beautiful interview at the beautiful Pink Pearl.
All right. So, the first part, I'm going to ask you about your journeys and your career milestone.
Yes.
So, first question, your journey span across multiple culinary cultures.
Yeah.
How has this global experience shaped your approach to French cuisine, and what's brought you to Asia, and what has motivated you to stay until now?
It's home now, so
Yeah.
So let me rewind the question. First of all, thank you very much. So I'm Chef Olivier. I'm very happy to be here at Pink Pearl at JW Marriott Phú Quốc today. And to answer to your question is we have to go a bit back in time, where 16 years ago, Pierre Gagnier, which is a 3 Michelin star chef in Paris, had a restaurant in Hong Kong. And he needed to get 2 Michelin stars there. And he hired me to basically do this task. So to answer your question of why did I come in Asia, was actually to joining an amazing challenge back in the day. I was a upcoming young chef in France with 1 star who was pushing to get 1 more. And actually, my target was back in the day to get with Pierre Gagnier 2 Michelin stars, which I achieved after 1 year. So we get 2 Michelin stars together. Then I moved to Robuchon, which was my mentor, and I had the chance to work with Joel Robuchon for 4 years. Very proud of that. And of course, then I start to evolve as a chef. I will say that about the reason why and how I see French cuisine in Asia, it's actually an ongoing process who's keep evolving, and which I really like more and more, because I'm considering myself as an Asian now, because I've been living here for 16 years. I love Vietnam, I love Hong Kong, I love Macau, I love all Asia where basically I'm based. I become more like a chef entrepreneur now, who actually become more global in Asia. Asia, it's the market where I want to succeed and where I want to have my empire. And that's why I think Phú Quốc is part of the process. And I think for me, to go straight to your question, I will answer that I realize after being on the top of the chef, the best chef in the world, is that I want to make French food accessible. I want to make French food very affordable for Asian people in general. And I think when you have seen the variety of food that you have in Vietnam, that you have in Hong Kong, in Japan, and all over Asia, actually you realize that the value for money, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. The offer and the choice are amazing. And I think most of the time, French is always seen as fine dining or the top, expensive restaurant. But I kind of like still to do that, but I also like to basically showing some fun concepts, very, I will say, connected to the local markets, and this is what we're doing here. And this will be my approach about how I see French cuisine. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited to launch in Pink Pearl a Mediterranean concept. I was lucky enough to work 7 years, where I started actually 30 years ago. Even I look 31, but I started 30 years ago to cook. And actually I was starting in south of France in the Mediterranean. Yeah. And I think when the property came and when we started to talk about it, I thought it was just an evidence to bring this here.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
So, when we intend to do the interview with Olivier, I read on his bio, this is 27 Michelin star. Yeah. But yesterday in the relaunching event, he said that 29. So yes. What is it?
So what happened is, the count of stars was actually my marketing team who put this together, which I think is quite smart. Yeah. Because actually chefs normally don't count how many stars we have, because currently I have 2 Michelin stars. But it was interesting because what they did actually is they they put together all my Michelin star I get since I'm a chef, and in Hong Kong, and actually in France as well. And happened just 2 days ago. The Michelin event was launched in Hong Kong, Macau, and I confirmed for the 5th year 2 Michelin stars in L'Envol. So of course now officially 29. But I tell you that I have a restaurant in Hangzhou, China, and the Michelin is coming out end of April. So maybe it could be 30, but let's see.
30.
That I think first, let's see, maybe. But we definitely look for like a Michelin stars in Hangzhou. So that's why it could be a good news. And why not one day in Phú Quốc?
Yeah.
But step by step. Yes.
Right. That level that you achieved so far. So what are the keys and challenge to sustaining such a high standard?
I think for me, I like what you mentioned at the beginning with those high standards. First of all, you need to go back and to be grounded. You need to be humble. And this is what I try to do with all my team, where we need to first, even though we are, we haven't getting a lot of accolades, at the end of the day, we need to make an audit check, which sounds boring, but which is the reality of check, which is, first of all, start to understand, the property. First of all, understand the market. First of all, go back to the basic of reinstalling all the components to make sure that the recipe of the restaurant becomes a success with all the ingredients that are necessary. For example, offering a great menu and concept. It's very important to have a clear path in 2025 because 225 people, they know what a restaurant is. They know what they look for. Yeah. They know what ambience they want. And I think for us, we need to go back to earth, stay grounded, very humbly understand the markets, very humbly soaking all the information to make sure that we are striking with our customer, to make sure we give them what they want. And that's, for me, because I'm in the kitchen, I like to say it's like a recipe. But I think the recipe of success comes from putting the right ingredients, which come from the concept first, the staff, and of course, I will say the experts who needs in each of their field to understand what we need to bring. Wine service is important. Service is important. The way we welcome the guests is important. The food concept and the pricing is important. Everything is important. So what we do is we dissect, just like a doctor, every single aspect of the experience from the guests. Yeah. And then we try to put it all together. And this is when the magic is created. And this is what makes the restaurant one day successful. I always say to my team, it's more like a marathon than a sprint. We are not here to doing a sprint. We are here, my home is Asia. I'm not here just to putting my name and running away. Of course, for me, I'm here to put my names and to make sure that every single day we have one only idea, which is to get better and better and better. And after a couple of months, we're gonna look back and say, wow, look at where we start from and look at where we are now. And sky is the only limit.
Excellent answer. So not to mention like Olivier, he has been a concept creator for many reputation restaurant around the region. I can name some like Louis Vuitton restaurant in Chengdu, L'Envol at St. Regis, Hong Kong, Seasons by Olivier.
Yep.
So could you share your philosophies on operating the fine dining and casual dining concept that you have created? And among the restaurants that I just mentioned, so which one has left the most significant mark on you?
I think it has to be automatically L'Envol, because L'Envol, it's my baby. I built with Marriott St. Regis and the owners for now 7 years. The restaurant is open in 11 April for 6 years. But actually I worked 1 year earlier because I had the chance to build the whole kitchen. André Fu, the designer, designed the hotel and the restaurant. So we've been working very closely together. So it's almost a baby that you had it from get birth to growing up every day. I think L'Envol has a specific space in my heart because we achieved 1 star, we achieved 2 star, and one day, of course, we're hoping to get 3 star. But what I like to do now is to developing a lot of fun concepts based on casual, refined food. And I think for me, this is actually an even more difficult task. Right. Because, I think people like very decontract restaurant, but with good atmosphere, good food, and good concept. And I tell you, it's not that easy to do. And that's why not so many people succeed. And this is what I'm focusing on now with my team. Because I think what I want to give as an access to my clients and my customer is to make sure that they access to some very good food but also with some more relaxed approach where people can still enjoy a nice ambience. And that's not easy. That's not too easy to do.
Right.
Yes.
So next part of the interview, we're gonna talk about culinary philosophies and creative style of yourself.
Yep.
So first question, like your culinary philosophy is never stop evolving. So how does it appear in your approach to the French cuisine in Asia?
I love the question. First, thank you very much for asking me this. I think, first of all, the philosophy of cooking, it's evolving all the time. Our wife is 16 years ago, very, very French, no idea of Asia. I come in Hong Kong, and the first reality check you get is that if you think that your philosophy should stay the same, you're already in the wrong way. And I understand that very early at the early stage. I tell you a funny story where, in Italy or in France, when you have a risotto, the risotto has to be a little bit crunchy.
Yeah.
And I remember I was here only for 1 week, and my chef sent me a risotto, very overcooked.
Right.
And I screamed at him, say, "What are you doing here?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was very unhappy with him, And so I take the risotto, I cook it for 60 minutes. The whole team was around me. So I was so proud to show them how to do a real risotto.
Right.
And as soon as I sent the dish, I just didn't have the time to return myself, that the waiter bring back the dish, say, "It's not cooked." The customer wanted more cooked. Yeah. So this shows you that I want, at that time, teaching something to my Asian chefs, where actually they could teach me something. Mm-hmm. So this is an humbling experience where you learn that if you think that, of course, you learn amazing skills in Europe. But I think to go back to the philosophy, I think what is important is to evolve all the time, as I say, but I think evolve in the way that, first of all, you need to understand the habits and of each culture. People in Hong Kong eat different than in Vietnam, as they eat in China or in Macau. And I think for me, humbly, I don't want to lose my authentic style. I'm French. One thing I realize in Asia, it's very clear, is that people like hot water or cold water, but they don't like warm. And the metaphor is because when they want Japanese, they go to a Japanese chef. When they want French, they go to a French chef. Yeah. And I think they don't really like the too much in between. And that's why for me, when you understand this, for example, I need in every of my concepts to offering the authenticity of French food, but with an Asian twist. Right. And the Asian twist is not fusion, it's just to adapt to the local palates and to humbly accept how the local likes the food. Yes, for example, Marco Pierre White, which is one of my mentor, which I love because I don't know him, but I work for Joël Robuchon, which is the Marco Pierre White of France. But Marco Pierre White always said the food has to be an extension of the arms of the chef. I agree with this, but it also has to be to do with, yes, when I cook, and it's an extension of me, and of my soul and my body. But it's also an acceptance of where I am, understanding what people like. And you cannot only cook for yourself. For me, I think it's important to understand what people likes. And then with our style, French, how do we achieve this? And I think this is the philosophy that I bring everywhere. And that's the reason why if you go to Hangzhou in China, in my restaurant, if you go in Taipei in my restaurant, or if you go in Hong Kong or in Vietnam, yeah, I will cook slightly different. Because, the palates are different. So I think we have humbly to adapt French food from France by keeping it authentic, by bringing it to Asia with actually the little touch who makes the difference. Mm-hmm. That's what I call my Asian twist.
All right,
yes.
Awesome. You know what? Because in Vietnam, the palates between North and South and the middle of Vietnam is completely different too.
Right. Yes.
So that's also, the difficulty.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But I think, I'm very proud to cook in Vietnam because I tell you this. Okay, I start with Hong Kong, I'm in Macau, I'm in Asia. And for me, it was a must open in Vietnam because first, I love Vietnamese food. I love Vietnam as well. It's one of my favorite countries here. And I think that what is the two countries who understand most French food, mm-hmm, I think for me is Vietnam and Japan. Mm. And I think that's why it's almost ringing the bell for me because people know what French food is and I think they are accustomed to. Mm-hmm. And I think for me that makes me proud to cook here because I know that people will enjoy very good authentic French food and that's what we do here.
So as a concept creator, as I mentioned before, so could you share your process of developing and launching a new restaurant models? Yeah. Which factors play the important role for your inspiration?
Yeah. So for example, let's use Pink Pearl as an example. Yeah. So I didn't know much about Phú Quốc and 1 year years ago, I came here for the first time. So I saw the property, I met with John, and we start to put together an idea of eventually me taking over. So I think the first is there's a lot of backdoor work,
Right.
where of course we need to get on board to have the same spirit and concept. To be honest, I reject quite a lot of projects because not that I'm a diva or not that I don't want, but it's just that I want to make sure that all the ingredients for the concept that we do are aligned with the ownership, the management, myself, and the potential is there. And for me, it was obviously a green light for Phú Quốc because Phú Quốc is expanding crazily. I love Phú Quốc because I feel quite ashamed to didn't come here before. And I think when you see, everything going on in Phú Quốc for the couple of years coming, Sun Group has a lot of development coming as well. I think for me, it was very obvious that I am very proud to put my name here. So to going back of what is the back of the house of building a successful restaurant, I believe is first finding strong partner, a strong management like Marriott, and then putting all the ingredients, just like a recipe. Yeah. So building a concept, that's what we do now. Building a team and reinforcing every single line to make sure that when our customer will come, we're facing knowledge, we're facing excellence, and we're facing, the best service that we can offer. And I think all those components are very important, who are part of the whole picture of the concept. So for me, even though I'm a chef, I understand that in 2025, if you just think that good food will bring you a successful restaurant, I think you are unfortunately mistaken because it's the whole experience which is important. So what I love in Pink Pearl is the property is just beautiful. The house is it's amazing. And I think now, I will say the hardware was there already, and now we're going to bring the software. Oh. And the software is the concepts, the plates, the flavors, the service, the little attention who makes the difference. And all this matched together, going to create a beautiful experience. And this is how we basically put together and how my philosophy is. Yeah. And that's why I think that's my idea. And I think what is very important as well is to be relentless of every single day, making sure that we are getting a bit better and better. Because I think, as I said before, it's a marathon. We have to win. It's not a sprint. And that's why every day we need to try to add something. And that's what I do in all my restaurants. That's why I stay connected with my phone all the time, answering and make sure that we're taking the right decision and that we make sure that we're taking the right action to also going step by step to the better way.
Yeah. To my observation, Pink Pearl restaurant, they have a very beautiful pink shelf outside.
Yes.
And Olivier Elzer and his team is making a beautiful show inside.
Exactly.
How many years in Vietnam? Like you said, 1 year, right?
Correct.
All right. So how many cities that you have been traveled to?
So actually, okay, it's been 1 year I've been in Phú Quốc, but it's about 15 years that I come to Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So I've been to Ho Chi Minh, I've been to Hanoi. So Vietnam is familiar to me, and I love your cuisine. Pho, like so many others, banh mi, and I really love it. It becomes actually, in France you eat very French, but when you come in Asia, you're craving for different type of food. Right. So, for example, you love French food, you like Italian food, you like Thai food, mm-hmm. Chinese food. And for me, I will say that I need to eat at least once a week Vietnamese, for sure, if it's not twice. My family, my wife loves it too, so I think we always love to we have a small restaurant in Hong Kong, we always go for pho, and we really like it. And I think for me, I feel close to Vietnam, and even though it's only 1 year I come to Phú Quốc, I've been visiting quite a lot, that. And I have my friend actually, which is French and Vietnamese as well, Cyril Congo. Mm-hmm. Cyril Congo is yeah. So Cyril is a good friend of mine, and my dream is to bring him here because actually he has a beautiful
sculptures and artwork.
Yeah, exactly. But he has an artwork shop in Bali, and actually this is where we met. And Cyril come a lot to my restaurant in Hong Kong, mm-hmm. and I told him that I will open something in Vietnam. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to have Cyril here one day and cook for him. And who knows, maybe he's gonna do something for us.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Cyril Congo too, and it's amazing that he's your friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So in Vietnam, so now I'm gonna ask a little bit about the Vietnamese market.
Yeah.
Like fine dining in Vietnam is rapidly developed. what do you think about the scene of Vietnam in the next 3 years for fine dining?
Yeah, I think for me, I will go back to something which was not too friendly, which was COVID.
Yes.
So I think COVID has changed actually a lot Asia in some aspects, and also Vietnam. For example, Vietnam, Taipei, Bangkok, I think was market, if you take Singapore and Hong Kong, was a bit behind. For example, you can definitely find more fine dining in Hong Kong, Singapore, and then Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh and Taiwan was a bit behind.
Yeah.
But actually this has changed, I think, because of COVID,
right.
which is something bad for something good. And I see actually now popping up everywhere in Taiwan, in Bangkok, and in Vietnam as well, a lot of interest for Western food. And I think this for me, it's a great news because, of course, it gives the chance of chefs like me and teams to express ourselves. And I think what COVID has done is that it has showed that, of course, having a variety of different food, it's important in the country. I think Vietnam, it's in a very upcoming market who is very aggressive now, who is changing a lot. Christian Lesquer is in Da Nang at the region. You have actually a lot of fresh French chefs coming overseas. Yeah. And I think for me, I never take it as a competition. I think it's good for the country. It's good for the different cities. Yeah. And I think for me, more attract we have, better it is. More eyes we have, better it is. And as you know as well, when you have more eyes, one day maybe Michelin will come in Phú Quốc, yeah. And Phú Quốc will be part of the Vietnamese guide. So that's why we can even push more. I think, the Michelin guide, as much as you have stars or not, it's still very important because, it gives an exposure internationally to a country or to a city, which it can give you a lot of eyes. And this is exactly what we want. Yeah. We can see that Phú Quốc has a lot of plan for the airports. There's a lot of new things going on. And I think for me, I feel excited to be here where I feel that it's not the beginning, but it's getting more and more exciting. Yeah. And I think coming here now, it's the perfect timing for me because I can get custom about Phú Quốc. I still have so much to learn about Phú Quốc. I want to go see the islands more in the north as well to learn a bit more about the culture. I know there's an amazing honey farm here that I need to visit. Yeah. I want to visit as well because for me, one philosophy that we talked before is also to self and source locally. Right. So for me, this is one mission we have is that we need to be responsible to try to source the most of ingredients from Phú Quốc first. And only if, unfortunately, the quality and the standard doesn't fit, then we can go to something that we bring abroad. But I think we have the responsibility to make sure we're finding out the whole market. So yep. That's the idea.
All right. So very interesting question upcoming. Yeah. So your achievement that makes you a role model for lots of young chefs. So what's the piece of advice that you can give them?
I think for me, I never, okay, I hear a lot of people asking this question. And for me, it's always hard because, look, of course, I want to inspire young chefs and I want to inspire most chefs as possible. But I like to be humble too, to say, look, if I can only inspire one person, I will be already happy. Yeah. But I think for me, what I like in my journey to be a chef and an entrepreneur is that actually, chefs now from Vietnam can learn with French chef or Western chef. And I think we can give them a platform. And I think for me, what I like is that, I come from a time where we're all in France, we don't move, and going to Vietnam or somewhere would be crazy, right? Right. But now a young Vietnamese chef can come work with me in Hong Kong or in my different restaurants in Asia. And to be honest, if they have the talent, right. I'm happy to hire them, and I will be happy for that. So I think for me, I always think that the exposure and those type of relationship makes that a lot of young chefs have a goal to maybe say, hey, one day I want to work for my group or for my restaurant. And I think it's important to keep this because we need to keep the young chef motivated, and we need to show them that all this hard work come with some reward. And one day you can be a chef in my restaurant for a Michelin star chef. You can be a chef like a casual restaurant. And I think it's a great value. Yeah. And that's why I think for me, I will give an advice, which is try to go work for the best chef, just like I did when I was young. And then you soak like a sponge and you take all the knowledge and all the information. And that's why I want one day to create a school. Yeah. where I will teach cooking, and I mean, it's not me, but I will try to show an aspect of cooking a bit differently, but also with the business mind, because that's something that I really feel deep in myself, which is I've been wired with cooking the best French food, but we sometimes forget the business aspect of it, which is very important, because if you only have the talents and the creativity and you do amazing dishes, but financially that don't make sense, unfortunately you die. And I think when a lot of chefs has stopped, for example, to be a chef because they just think that financially it doesn't work. Right. And I think for me this is a bit sad because they have so much talent, but they're just missing a little bit of knowledge to make sure that business-wise they make it work. Right. So for me, if I can, of course, I will say teach having these different works of service, wine, food, pastry, chocolates, but also teach them, the aspect of business a little bit. Yep. I think it will be a great match, and I will be happy to do that in my later stage when I have more gray hair. Yes.
It's awesome. You're the first one who mentioned about the business side, the business aspect of, cooking.
Yes.
That's very good. That's a very
it's important. Yeah, I think it's very important. Because, I say that especially for us now because, 30 years ago, I will tell you this, the analogy is this. I rather to have a young chef who cooks me a dish in a very casual restaurant, which is amazing. And when I will speak more technically. When you have a 25% food cost, when you eat a dish, of course you don't know what is the food cost behind, right? But imagine you eat a dish in a very humble restaurant, and then for how much you pay, it's 25 food cost. And I have more respect for that to someone who go to a palace in Paris who gives me the best dish with the best ingredients with an 80% food cost. And the reality is that, of course, the 80% food cost will be an amazing dish with truffle, caviar, etc. Right. But at the end of the day, if you are having a business, you will die. You cannot make business with an 80% food cost. And that's why, for me, this is an aspect which is very important, where if you cook, and you make beautiful dishes, even with simple food, this is the value of the chef, and this is how you run your business. And I think this aspect is very important for young chef, and that's what I will try to teach, or at least to show them in my way. And anyone is welcome to come for the one who wants to learn about it.
Excellent. To me, I interview a lot of chefs around the world and in Vietnam too. But this is the first time I heard about business side. And thank you for that.
Thank you much. Thank you. Thank you.